I want to start with a game, okay? And to win this game, all you have to do is see the reality that's in front of you as it really is, all right? So we have two panels here of colored dots, and one of those dots is the same in the two panels, okay? And you have to tell me which one. Now I'll narrow it down to the gray one, the green one, and say the orange one. So by a show of hands, we'll start with the easiest one. Show of hands, how many people think it's the gray one? Really? Okay. How many people think it's the green one? And how many people think it's the orange one? So pretty even split. So let's find out what the reality is. Here is the orange one. Right? Here's the green one. And here's the gray one. So for all of you who saw that, you're complete realists. All right? So this is pretty amazing, actually, isn't it? Because nearly every living system has evolved the ability to detect light in one way or another. So for us, seeing color is one of the simplest things the brain does. And yet, even at this most fundamental level, context is everything. Okay? What I'm going to talk about is not that context is everything, but why is context everything? Because it's answering that question that tells us not only why we see what we do, but who we are as individuals and who we are as a society. But first we have to ask another question, which is, what is color for? And instead of telling you, I'll just show you. What you see here is a jungle scene, and you see the surfaces according to the amount of light that those surfaces reflect. Now, can any of you see the predator that's about to jump out at you? And if you haven't seen it yet, you're dead, right? Can anyone see it? Anyone? No? Now let's see the surfaces according to the quality of light that they reflect. And now you see it. Right? So, color enables us to see the similarities and differences between surfaces according to the full spectrum of light that they reflect. But what you've just done is in many respects mathematically impossible. Why? Because, as Berkeley tells us, we have no direct access to our physical world other than through our senses. And the light that falls onto our eyes is determined by multiple things in the world. Not only the color of objects, but also the color of their illumination and the color of the space between us and those objects. You vary any one of those parameters, and you'll change the color of the light that falls onto your eye.
We have no direct access to the physical world other than through our senses. Each of our senses is a carefully evolved sensory tool with an infinite number of variables that come into play for each of us in the exact same way. But we are humans, and it is never that simple. We sometimes say, what you see is what you get. But as we saw in the previous video, our eyes can trick us. We know from the criminal justice system that eyewitness accounts, far from being proof positive, are often suspect. And when there is more than one eyewitness, can often conflict. Our brain, on one level, functions the same for each of us in processing sensory experience, but our brains are very busy places, working on multiple levels so that what we see, hear, taste, touch, and smell affects us in different ways. Our personal biases, our emotions, our memory, and our history all come into play. We cannot celebrate the senses without celebrating the brains that serve as our processing centers, which can also only understand the physical world through the senses and add much richness and complexity at the intersection of inner world and outer world. Northwoods member Kathryn Donohue has compiled a number of images from the woodlands and the surrounding area in the past week, which we will share with you now. What feelings and thoughts do they evoke for you? If you wish, please share in the chat.